clear signs that President Muhammadu Buhari has no plan whatsoever to sign the amendment to Section 84(8) of the Electoral Act 2022 sent to him by the National Assembly last week. The statutory delegates pushed out by the Act have turned out to be the biggest losers in the intense political game. Section 84, subsection 8 recognizes only democratically elected delegates, stating, and I quote, "A political party that adopts the system of indirect primaries for the choice of its candidates shall outline in its constitution and rules the procedure for the democratic election of delegates to vote at the convention, congress, or meeting," unquote. The Senate and the House of Representatives had last week passed the amendment to the Act to recognize statutory delegates as voters during primaries, congresses, and conventions of other political parties. But with the president hesitant to sign the amendment, it means only national delegates elected at the local government congresses will determine who will be the presidential flag bearers of the parties. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has sent the new Electoral Act Amendment Bill to the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice and the Independent National Electoral Commission for legal advice. The president's decision not to be in a hurry to sign the bill, according to a report by this day newspaper, was to avoid a repeat of the mistake made by members of the National Assembly, who in their effort to punish political appointees forgot to include themselves as delegates. For more on this, we are now being joined by Senator Albert Bassey, who represents Akwa Ibom Northeast Senatorial District in the National Assembly. Senator Bassey, thank you very much for joining us on This Day Live today.
Thank you, Ruben, for having me here.
Well, Senator Albert Bassey, I just gave a long narrative about what is happening. But let us start with what is happening in Akwa Ibom State before we take on the other related issues at the national level. Today is the primaries for House of Reps and members of the House of Assembly in the PDP across the country. Now, the voting by the delegates for House of Assembly members was supposed to have started like 10 a.m. Has it started? Where are we with that in your state? I know in Akwa Ibom maybe 24 delegates, okay. But then House of Reps and all of that. What is the situation in Akwa Ibom State for us to have an idea of probably what is going on around the country?
Well, I think, Ruben, thank you for actually having me here. Yeah, well, the situation in Akwa Ibom State is very pathetic because most of the aspirants, numbering over about 60 or 70 or thereabout, have backed down from participating in the ongoing exercise on the strength of the fact that, of course, because of the current realities we have on ground in Nigeria, where Section 88 has actually barred some of the statutory delegates like myself from voting in the said primaries. But also in Akwa Ibom State, we've had the court order on the 18th of May served on the party barring the use of the ad hoc delegates that were elected because of certain distortions in the process leading to their elections. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has actually barred the party to maintain status quo ante bellum, which means that go back to the point of where before we had the disagreement, which technically nullifies the use of ad hoc delegates. As a result of this, our party, the PDP, has gone ahead to say we will use ad hoc delegates. So most of the aspirants for the House of Assembly and the House of Representatives have actually written an appeal to the national headquarters of our party that they cannot be part of breaking the laws of the land, and that they will adhere strictly to to the order of court that Akwa Ibom State should not use this ad hoc delegate. So that decision in Akwa Ibom is been that of more or less like a kangaroo, and we believe that we'll leave that in the court of the law, since the matter is before the court. That decision in Akwa Ibom State. In my local government, for instance, I've been told, because I won't be part of it, that only 5 wards delegate has been used to elect a House of Assembly candidate for our party. So that's quite pathetic. That decision.
No, what I just need to know, and maybe that will be of interest to some of the people watching this program, is that I hope there is no violence in Akwa Ibom State, and that the process is going smoothly. Considering the fact that there is big disagreement in your state about where the next governor should come from, where the next aspirants should come from, in the 3 senatorial districts involved. Can you assure us that since the process commenced today, that there is peace in Akwa Ibom State?
Well, I think, Ruben, the issue of where the next governor should come from, I believe that we should leave that in the court of the public opinion, because the people should have the right to choose who should lead them or who should serve them in the office of the governor. I believe that on the basis of zoning and rotations, there are different interpretations to it. But it's Akwa Ibom State, in Akwa Ibom Northeast, where I represent. I've had the privilege of representing them in the last 7 years at the Senate of the National Assembly. We have 3 federal constituencies. The other 2 federal constituencies have produced governors before, and it's only my federal constituency that is used to produce a governor, a deputy governor, a minister, or an ambassador. So we believe that where we cannot afford to keep silence in an unjust environment, but we want to leave that in the court of our public opinion, because I believe that by the special grace of God, the next governor of Akwa Ibom State will come from it to Ibom federal constituency.
Okay, very quickly, Senator Bassey, what do you think of the fact that some people are saying what is creating so much uncertainty now that the primaries have begun in states across the Federation? It's not just in Akwa Ibom that we have the primaries taking place, PDP today. It's because the president was very reluctant to assent to the amendment of Section 84(8) of the Electoral Act. Do you think that the president is the problem causing this confusion?
I don't think so. Well, you know that in the courts of our different responsibilities, the National Assembly make laws for the good governance of the country, and the president and the executive implement these laws while the judiciary interpret these laws. It is in the wisdom of the National Assembly. I mean, we are not perfect. We are not perfect. And the law that was made in our approach to the amendment of the Electoral Act was how to enhance the transparency and credibility of the electoral processes. And we did this without fear or favor. It was not about favoring ourselves and then disfavoring the governors. No, ourselves and the governors are working in collaborations and also collectively for the good governance of this country. What we did was that we realized that, of course, Section 84(8) of some had actually omitted. That was not the real intention of National Assembly, because in our original document, those sections were clearly defined. But I think in the course of transmitting the document to Mr. Presidency, we now realize that there was this omission. And of course, you know that issues of territory delegates are reflected in various party constitutions, depending on the structure of their constitution. So we said, listen, we need to include this, so it's without any biases or without any intentions. I think we're carrying out normal law-making responsibility as enshrined in the constitution of this country. So we believe that the president is a listening president. Of course, you know that Baba is somebody that seeks opinions. He's very detailed. He's very patient in taking decisions. But we are very confident, based on the intelligence that we are getting. If Baba has sent it to the Attorney General and then the Minister of Justice, Baba himself cannot be a delegate to his own national convention. That's the irony. A governor will say cannot be, a senator cannot be, a member of the House cannot be. So I think this amendment is quite fundamental and it's not time-barred. And that's the issue that we are having in Akwa Ibom State. The Court of Law has barred the use of ad hoc delegates, and Section 84.8 has barred the use of territory delegates. So these are some of the fundamental issues that must be addressed for us to enhance our electoral processes, knowing fully well that the foundation of a good election is the election of very credible candidates, and this is basically what we are saying. We believe Baba will sign it into law. Let him take his time and review it, and then know what is best for this country.
Okay, even if the president signs that piece of legislation into law today, it probably will not have any effect because it will be retrospective. And one newspaper is already reporting this morning that the effect will be in 2027. But let's take this quick break. After that, we'll come back, and I would like to take your take on that particular point that I've just made. Welcome back to This is Live, the Sunday talk show here on the RIS News channel. And our guest is still Senator Albert Bassey, who represents Akwa Ibom Northeast Senatorial District in the National Assembly. Now, Senator Bassey. Now, let me just take off from where I ended it. The House of Representatives is saying that part of the problem is that the president did not assent to Section 84.8 as amended by the National Assembly. The National Assembly scored an own goal, excluded itself from the current electoral process. The National Assembly came back on recess and then decided that, we have to amend this. Then the president took off to the UAE, Abu Dhabi. The president came back on Saturday, yesterday, and then we were told, he now transmitted the recommendation from the National Assembly to the INEC and also the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, who is likely to be also a beneficiary. And so the National Assembly is now saying, the president, by not signing, has placed an ambush. Is this a case of karma? Because the National Assembly itself should have recognized that it scored an own goal against itself. So who are we to blame? Should we blame the president, or should we blame the National Assembly that's in a hurry to tie the hands of the governors, passed a law that worked against its own interests and its members, and now it looks like the governors have become very powerful? Will you agree that the governors, in a karmic manner, have been given powers inadvertently?
Ruben, let me say here that this is the first National Assembly that has achieved so much for this country because of the collective sense of purpose, because of the collaborative nature that we have worked with the executive. I can tell you that this National Assembly headed by His Excellency Ahmed Lawan has achieved a lot. All that we have set for ourselves as part of our agenda for this session has been achieved. In terms of, you look at the PIB, you look at the amendment we did to the PSC Amendment Act, look at all the laws that we have passed, the electoral law, even the constitutional amendment issues. I think we have attained a lot for the country. And there is no way this National Assembly would have set up a law that will exclude even Mr. President, who is the leader of our country, or set up a law that will exclude even governors, who is also leaders of our respective states, or even councillors, those that were elected prior to the elections of the ad hoc delegates. It's not possible. Even talk about even excluding ourselves. I believe that the National Assembly should actually be commended for this discovery and effectively amending same. And we don't also expect Mr. President to just jump in and sign. He has to look at other sections in case what has been passed and presented to him has also affected other provisions of the law. And of course, the president, when he receives any law, sends it to the relevant agencies of government for their review. I believe that, and let me also say here that the amendment of this provision does not make the implementation of the Electoral Act time-barred, because this provision affects only issues of primaries, which is still ongoing. I think the APC started their primaries on the 26th. Our party, PDP, have actually started it today, even without waiting for the implementation of the law, just to beat the time deadline. So I believe that, Mr. President, since it's just a single provision review by the agency, like you have said, INEC and the chief law officer of the country, I don't see anything wrong in Mr. President signing this thing into law in the last 24 hours, because he will want himself to be a delegate to his own national convention to produce a candidate for his own party as regards the presidency. And it also limits, you see, you will also need to elaborate the choices, because you cannot, like my party, you cannot allow just 800 people instead of the 4,000 some of the national delegates that we have. And I think in the APC is about between 6,000 and 7,000 delegates. It will give whosoever will emerge, it will have the spread and the acceptability across the country. So I think Mr. President is the father of this country, is the leader of our country, and he wants to sign into law a law that will be devoid of every control versus. He's doing what is expected to do. And I'm sure, Baba believes that, I want to take my time in doing things. I think he will make the country happier than it is today, because there's so much apprehension, there's so much anxiety across this country as regards these provisions. Look at the issue of Akwa Ibom, for example. In the eyes of the law, there are no candidates so far for the House of Assembly and the House of Reps, because a court of competent jurisdiction has barred the use of ad hoc delegates in Akwa Ibom. So in my local government, where you say 15 people will elect a House of Assemblyman, that's very pathetic. So I believe that we should allow Mr. President take his time, and I believe he will do this without any rancor. He's doing his best. He has done his best for this country. Yes. Well,
one opinion out there is that, look, even if the president signs the law, hello, looks like we're losing audio connection with Senator Bassey. Can you hear me, Senator Bassey? Okay, we'll take a short break, and then we'll link up again with Senator Albert Bassey. Welcome back to This is Live, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. Our guest is Senator Albert Bassey, who represents Akwa Ibom Northeast Senatorial District in the National Assembly of Nigeria. Senator Bassey, thank you very much for staying with us. You made the point earlier on about the role of governors. And I would like to ask you about the situation in Akwa Ibom State. You said, okay, there is a case in court and all of that over this particular process. You talked about ad hoc delegates not existing. What really is the problem? Because earlier on, I had asked you about these governors. And I said the National Assembly members wanted to cage the governors. But it's like in doing so, they shot themselves in the foot. And you are in that National Assembly. Now the governors have become very powerful. The president is not signing what the National Assembly members remembered too late in the day. So what is the implication of all of this?
Ruben, let me say here that we have worked collaboratively between the executive and the governors as well in implementing most of the laws we have in this country. And that we as a people, we said it is our responsibility, our daily course of action, to make laws and review laws that will lead to the good governance of the country and our electoral process. So I don't believe that the National Assembly was out to shortchange the governors. There is no way we'll shortchange the governors and we make a law that we have excluded the governors from becoming delegates to their national convention, but then allow members of the National Assembly to be delegates to national conventions. I think we have done the best for this country as members of National Assembly. And I believe very strongly that these particular provisions of the law, we believe, will ensure will ensure a balanced representation and reflects the context of our national national unity in the membership of delegates of every structure. You cannot say myself as an elected senator will not be a delegate to a local government congress that will elect a House of Assembly member, or Mr. President, who is the father of this country and the leader of his party nationally, will not be a delegate to a national convention of his party that will elect their presidential candidate. This is the abnormality. This is the confusion that we are trying to correct. And I keep repeating myself. Look at the context of Akwa Ibom State. That particular section has barred the statutory delegates from voting. And a court of competent jurisdiction have equally said suspend the use of ad hoc delegates. And the ruling of this court has been appealed against in the court of appeal by the party. Is it possible for the party who has appealed against a ruling of a court to still go ahead to use the same ad hoc delegates? So in the eyes of the law, I believe very strongly, I don't need to be told, is that PDP in Akwa Ibom State will not have candidates in the State House of Assembly and candidates in the Federal House of Representatives, because our other parties are also watching to see the loopholes that can be capitalized upon. This is none of our making, because we believe that in Imo State, a court order has barred the use of ad hoc delegates, and the party has actually shifted the elections. In Abia State, the court order has barred the use of ad hoc delegates, and the party has shifted the elections. In Ebonyi State, the court order has barred the use of ad hoc delegates, and the party has postponed its primaries. So what's the particular interest in Akwa Ibom to destroy the party in Akwa Ibom? This is what we are saying. And most of us have lived in this party. This party have done so much for us. We have served this party very well. And let me even say here, it is because of our love for this party that I personally stood down my governorship ambition in 2015 and then went to the Senate. And it's also in the course of reflecting my love and the context of this party that in 2019 I stood by my leader, the governor of the state, like a rock. So we have enough evidence to show that we have stood by the party, but I believe very strongly that we will allow, since the matter is before the court of competent jurisdiction, and the court has made this order, I believe that let us see the outcome of this matter. But my advice to the party is, whatever you have done to postpone elections in Abia, Imo, and Ebonyi State, what is wrong with Akwa Ibom? So I believe that we are still on course. I mean, democracy is on trial, and Mr. President will make it good for the country, will make it good for himself, will make it good for his party, will make it good for other parties by signing this amendment, just a single provision amendment into law. And it's not time barred, because it does not affect other provisions that has to be the planning of the elections. Also, I think INEC will give a positive response. I also believe that the chief law officer, who understands the matter at hand, will equally give a positive response. So I think Mr. President, by the grace of God, will sign this into law in the next not sooner than later.
Senator Bassey,
we are still on course. Yes.
Senator Bassey, since you have gone local, let's go local. The House of Reps and House of Assembly primaries today. I understand that some people in the political system have decided to boycott on the basis of the court cases that you refer to, EWOC versus INEC, PDP, and all of that, and then the appeal that went all the way to the Court of Appeal. Now, what exactly is the problem? Who exactly is the problem in Akwa Ibom State right now? Is it the governor, Udom Emmanuel, who has bigger ambitions? Or is it the issue about who comes next in the senatorial districts? Ikorekpane, Eket, and what's the third? Uyo federal constituency, where the people of Itu and Ibiono are saying that it's their turn to present the next governor from a particular place. What is the problem? Where do you stand in that dynamics?
Well, I think, Ruben, we'll soon give you an indigene of Akwa Ibom, because he seems to know so much about the issues in Akwa Ibom. Ruben, I'm one person who believes, firstly, that power comes Power comes from God, and that God gives it to whomsoever He pleases. I've also had a fantastic working relationship with His Excellency, my leader, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, the Kinudom Gabriel Emmanuel, and I've also given my people an effective and impactful representation at the National Assembly. I will still insist that no matter what we do as a political party, the responsibility, the authority on who becomes the next governor of Akwa Ibom State is vested with the electorate. Is vested with the electorate. Just that, since we are beginning in our nomination processes, we must be careful with the caliber and the quality and the character of who we present as candidates of our party. It must be a candidate that is devoid of any deficiencies, so that our co-competitors will not take advantage of the deficiency in such a candidate. So I will still insist that the right thing gets done. I don't believe in looking at putting zoning before competence. I believe that in these elections, I think of all those that have actually shown interest in contesting, in serving the state in the office of the governor, I think I have the best of credentials. And I have served well in the public and private sector. I have served my people diligently as the Commissioner of Finance in this state and budget for about 8 years. I'm serving as the dismissed senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm a major voice too in the National Assembly. And so I still believe that I want to leave the choice on who becomes the next governor in the court of public opinion. The awareness is high, the interest is high, and the apprehension is extremely very, very high. Our people are ready to choose a governor, not the party. So we must be very careful on the kind of the credibility of the candidate that we're putting forward. This is what the people will be looking after. Our state is in a trajectory of growth, and then we must be consistent. And in being consistent, we must be very careful as a political party, not leaving room for our co-competitors to take advantage of, like the case that we have in the primary elections. And I can tell you for free, it's not about PDP. It's not about PDP, because if a court had ruled, given an order, and then you have appealed against the order, and you have equally filed a stay of execution of that order before the same court, and you have gone ahead as a party to take an actions that will be inimical to the order of the court, it is left for I'm not a judge in this matter. I'm not also a party to the matter. And I believe that the court will look at the facts before it look at the precedents, because law is about precedents, that then know how best to address the issue. But I'm still urging Mr. President, as the father of our nation, to please sign into law the amended Electoral Act passed by the National Assembly, just like you've always done, just like also like the relationship that will have existed between yourself and the National Assembly. We are very confident, and I trust God that this will be resolved within the shortest possible time. The country is waiting. The international community is waiting, and all the political parties are equally waiting. Even the electors are equally waiting. So the anxiety will soon be over. I know Baba enjoys what he's doing, and he will do the right thing for our people.
Albert Bassey, I keep insisting that this day newspaper reported today that particular Section 84(8), even if the president signs it today, cannot have retroactive effect, which is elementary law. But since you already talked about your ambition, what are you focusing on this time? You went to the National Assembly in 2015. So this time around, what's your ambition? What do you have for the Akwa Ibom people? Are you interested in the senatorial race, or you want to be governor? You know you contested against Udom Emmanuel the other time. And what are your chances? Why do you think that you should continue to serve the people of Akwa Ibom?
Thank you, Ruben. I think I've had the privilege and the opportunity of consulting our delegates in 31 local government area, and then we have sold our agenda, our 5-point agenda to our people. I believe that we worked hard enough by the special grace of God to sell ourselves in the hearts of our people, and we are very confident that if a free and fair primaries is conducted with the delegates that will emerge victorious, because I believe that, based on the experience that we have gathered, based on our track record of credibility and strength of character that we have exhibited, since I was a banker, I became a commissioner of finance, I'm in the National Assembly, the upper chamber. I think that I've gathered enough experience to serve my people in the office of the executive governor of Akwa Ibom State. Not just me, it is the desire of majority of Akwa Ibomites to have me serve them in that capacity, and I don't think I can run away from that. But I must work to bring that to bear in the course of our political election and electioneering processes. So I think we are doing our best. We are exercising our liberty. We are exercising our rights and enshrined in the Constitution to vie for any office of our choice. And we have so far left that choice in the court of public opinion. Let's wait and see what happens in Akwa Ibom State in the next couple of months. And at the end of it all, I believe that the will of the people will actually prevail, which of course will be the will of God. Mm-hmm.
Do you have the support of Urban Victor Atta, who is considered the godfather of PDP politics in Akwa Ibom State? Akwa Ibom State being originally and consistently a PDP state. Do you have his blessings? Because it looks like in the present equation...
Victor Atta has actually retired from politics and had actually declared so. So I believe that it's about the choice is vested with the people of Akwa Ibom State. Baba Atta has actually said, I'm no longer a member of your political party. I'm now an elder statesman. So he might have his own personal opinion, but I think that does not overshadow the collective opinion of our people, because as a leader, you cannot live without your followers. The voice of your followers should be the voice of your leader. He's a man I hold in high esteem, and I think I had the privilege of consulting him and also having his endorsement. So I don't think it's his personal opinion at this stage does really create any negative impression, because I believe that he's now an elder statesman. He stays neutral in the course of his advice. All his children are his children, and all his folks are his folks. We hold him in high esteem, and I think we want to live at that level.
Senator, just in about 1 or 2 minutes before we wrap it up, do you have any anxieties about the 2023 electoral process? Because there are persons who have been saying, look, there may even be no elections next year, given the level of disruption within the system, kidnapping, violence across senatorial zones. Do you have any anxieties? Do you have any fears? And how do you think we can solve this problem quickly, in less than 2 minutes?
Well, I think the Electoral Act has actually addressed most of the areas of greater concern that will enhance the transparency of the electoral processes, that most of the issues and the challenges of the past Electoral Act, based on the last experience of the last elections, has been corrected in the recent Electoral Act. One of the fundamental things is the issue of transmitting of electronically results at the polling units. I think that this will reduce the human interference, despite the fact that INEC is expected to run a dual collation process electronically and as well as manual. So I believe that the review that was done in the current Electoral Act will actually enhance electoral processes and make it more credible, more transparent, and more generally acceptable to our people. I think 2023 is more of the caliber and the character of the candidates that will be presented by the various political parties, because our people are even more, their awareness is high, the voters' education is also equally very high, their knowledge on the credibility of the candidates they are supporting is equally very, 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 very high. I think on the issue of security, the government is doing a lot in that regard. In 2015, I can recall that the then President Jonathan had to suspend elections for about 2 weeks to enable our brothers in the northeast exercise this franchise. And Mr. President has presently given orders to the military hierarchy to ensure that banditry is put to rest and all that. So we should be prayerful as the country, because I think that one thing is important is that the unity of this country is unnegotiable. So we must do everything humanly possible in our personal and individual capacity and collectively as a people to ensure that the country survives its present challenges. And I believe that with God on our side, I think we will survive it, and this country will be great again.
Okay, thank you very much. On that note, Senator Albert Bassey, for joining us on This Day Live, this Sunday talk show. We wish you well with your ambition to become the next governor of Akwa Ibom State.